There are a couple spoilers in this video, but I need your guys' help and I don't know what to do, so I'm going to show you anyway. I was working on the mechanics for my new Mannequin Warehouse 2 map, and I was noticing something that was extremely annoying. In the map, I have this remote device that when you click it, it brings up this iPad that has a visual of all the cameras. Right now, my marker is on the screen, and that is where you will spawn when you click on the basement cam. So watch what happens when I click on the basement cam. You notice how not all the props were loaded in right away. Well, you would think, since I was already at the iPad that I had displaying all of the camera positions, that would have stayed loaded in, right? Well, if I leave this camera, you'll notice that the only thing still there is the screen and the billboards. The black outline, yeah, that takes forever to pop back up. And if you look, you'll think since I've already been to the basement now that it would stay loaded in. But when I click on it again, it takes a second to load in again. To put things in simpler terms, if this render distance issue is not a bug, then this map is screwed. Hey everyone, this is Syntax, and we have an issue. A very large issue. If you've been playing the new season, I'm sure you've noticed random lag spikes in creative, stuff has been having trouble loading in, there's been a lot of rendering issues. Now whether or not this rendering thing is a bug or just a genuine change, I haven't figured out yet, but if it isn't a bug, then I'm pretty much screwed. On your screen right now is everything that I have built for Mannequin Warehouse 2. This is all of it right here. You'll notice that compared to the entire grid island, it is fairly compact. You know, everything is built very tightly together. It's very interesting to look at from the outside, but there's an issue with how I've built everything, and I want you guys to watch this. So as I fly through here, and my flight speed is only on 2 times, do you see this? Do you see how much I'm stuttering as I fly through here? And if I turn my flight speed up to 5 times, it is so much worse. Like, look at what is happening to my screen. Anyway, in the intro, you saw that I was checking the basement camera from my little iPad menu. So where I had the thing marked was actually right in here. This is the empty basement, or the starting basement for one of the mannequins. I have my marker right here. Now, if we fly over here, that is the basement that I have marked, and my little iPad menu is actually set up in here. This is where the iPad menu sits. So I basically just click on the basement cam and then I'd be teleported to the basement. But you'll notice that it didn't stay rendered in. One of the first mechanics I actually set up in an effort to pre-load in all the props were these little black boxes. They have teleporters in them, and you just kind of teleport around in an effort to load in the props that are around them. If I start the game, I get teleported all around the map over the most prop-dense areas, and then it plops me down inside the bedroom where then I can start playing the game. The problem is, like you saw in the intro, when I check the basement cam, it should already be loaded in because I was teleported above it. But when I click this, it takes a second to load in. And initially I thought, okay, there's a ton of props in the basement, there's a ton of intricacies, you know, there's a bunch of little things everywhere, maybe that's the problem. But the fact that the iPad menu also de-renders just doesn't make any sense to me. Because all that camera menu is a bunch of black primitive shapes. And they still take time to load in. And it doesn't really matter. I can click back and forth between these all I want. The basement never stays loaded in. It might load in a little bit faster, right? But it doesn't stay loaded in. And yes, there are certain props that are staying loaded in, but why is that not the case with every prop? One of the fundamentals of Mannequin Warehouse is the ability to check a camera and then immediately leave, like I can do with the living room cam, which is just static. You're supposed to be able to check it and leave right away. With the basement cam, I can't do that. Listen to how many times I click this. Watch, I'm gonna spam square after clicking this. You see how long it takes me to leave it? You also have the ability to go directly from cams back to the bedroom. So if you look, if I go back to the bedroom and move my camera around, there's like a gigantic lag spike. Click the basement cam, click right on remote control, and then you see, like, why is that a thing? Why is that a thing? The closet in front of me clearly stays loaded in. So what am I loading in that causes me to have frame problems? Look, it's the same with the hall cams. If I check the left hall, it takes a sec to load in and I can't immediately go back like I can with, you know, the living room cam. I'm gonna actually wait for one of the mannequins to move throughout the basement so I can show you how much smoother it is and also why it doesn't make sense. So if I click the basement cam right now, you will see that the mannequin has actually moved forward in the basement. Now watch what happens when I click out of this camera. You see how that didn't have to load in? Now this version of the basement camera is actually a lot closer to this camera menu than the empty version is, but I'm still de-rendering everything from the empty version. And the basement camera, where this mannequin is actually in the center of it, is close enough to those props that they should be getting rendered in. But if you look, I can click this one and then immediately click out of it. Click it and then immediately click out of it. How does that make any sense? So yeah, just for a frame of reference, that is where the empty basement was, and then this basement over here is actually where the mannequin is standing in the middle of it. And if we go ahead and mark this, you can see if I plot my marker down and then make my way back to the iPad screen, it's only like 30 something meters away, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so that's, oh, I lied. It's 46 meters away. I actually did take some measurements with how far away the mannequins de-render, and it seems like once you are 54 meters away, the bones no longer appear. So the piece that I used for the mannequins, which was the monster skull bones, those just completely de-render after 55 meters, which makes no sense at all. And not only the bones too, you saw the files on the shelves in the basement, those de-render, a bunch of stuff on the table de-renders. Like when I checked this camera, none of these files were here, none of this stuff on the table was here, none of these lights were here. Like, why is stuff not staying rendered? Now again, it could be because of how tightly packed everything is and how many little pieces there are that make up like individual tables and closets and cabinets and whatnot. But like I was showing you with this version of the basement, when I am in the iPad menu, I have de-rendered that version and that version. So when I check this one again, it should have to render that back in. But it doesn't because it's not lagging. I also went ahead and played Mannequin Warehouse 1, and it's the same story. Stuff is now de-rendering when you're far away from it, and there's just, I don't know what to do about it. And the worst part of it all is, right now, my memory for this map sits at 91K, basically 92K. And the only mechanics that I have for the map are this, right here. That's it. These are the only movement mechanics. There's a couple menu mechanics, and there's like a game-winning mechanic, but that's it. I am like 1/5 done with the mechanics. So initially I thought, okay, maybe I can just move all of these rooms closer to the main parts that I'm going to be hanging out in, which is of course the main bedroom and then the iPad. But the issue is, the closer the stuff gets to these exclamation marks on the map, the more memory gets used, and I don't have that spare memory. And yeah, there is a ton of cameras in this one. There is 10 cameras in this map versus the 7 in the first map, but like, that's not an excuse for props to be de-rendering. And like I've already said, you would think it has something to do with the prop density, but when I'm teleported here, which is in the middle of a whole ton of props, there is no lag issues. There's no problems. And it's not like props are super far away. The farthest aesthetic piece from this room and that camera is like 100 meters, okay? It's not that far away. And it seems like the longer you stay in an area, the easier a time the props have loading in, but it's very inconsistent. And honestly, the garage cam is the worst. I'm not sure why this is so bad at rendering. This version of the camera is literally 48 meters away. Like, I'm teleporting 48 meters. And every time I check the garage cam, there's a whole bunch of stuff that has to load back in. Like, I am not supposed to de-render these props. They are closer than 55 meters, but everything is de-rendering. Listen, if this is not a bug, I genuinely don't know what I'm going to do. I can build all the mechanics for the map and then try moving certain rooms closer to the base area, but I just don't think that's gonna do anything. And if it's not smooth and you can't properly check the cameras to delay the movement of the mannequins, then I don't even want to release the map, because the game is supposed to function. It has to function. And yes, some of the rooms are extremely intricate and very prop dense, okay? There's a custom table in here, there's a custom pantry, there's even a light switch, like there's custom cabinets and custom cupboards and a bunch of glasses and a whole bunch of stuff. But even if that's the case, I don't understand why props just won't stay loaded in. Like I've said before, I can try moving rooms closer when I'm done with the mechanics, and I can try thinning out some of the aesthetics, maybe that you can't see. But other than that, I have no idea what I'm gonna do. And what sucks was I was gonna have animations for the jump scares of this map, but if stuff isn't gonna stay loaded in, then they have to just be one frame that you just sit there and look at for 3 seconds, because I don't have time to load in the other frames. And if I have to build the jump scares in the center of all this in order to give them the best chance of loading in, that's gonna add to the total memory, giving me less memory for intricate mechanics. For a lot of people, it wouldn't be a problem to get rid of some of the aesthetics, okay? To make it look uglier, to make it look worse, to make it less immersive. But I just can't. It has to look like a game, it has to feel like a game, and it has to be detailed. That's a must. Whatever the case may be, this map is probably going to get delayed because I don't think I'm going to be able to figure out a way to fix this. And there was a creator a while back that said stuff stayed loaded in on published islands, so I actually went ahead and published it, and that was in fact not the case. And I guess my confusion in general is really my main motivation for making this video, because I am out of ideas, and this is just genuinely a cry for help. It seems like every time Epic updates the game, the creators that genuinely try to push the boundaries of creative and come up with new authentic ideas are always on the bad end of the deal. But yeah, that's everything I have for you guys today. If you have any ideas or suggestions on how you think I can fix this issue, please leave them down in the comments, because at this point I'm willing to try anything. But anyway guys, I really do hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, this has been Syntax. Later.